Thanks, Gabby. The magic of the Springfield Cup rolls around this hallowed hall, this behemoth sporting academy, the venue for training from novices to Olympians. The loom on which the tapestry of sporting greatness is woven. The foundry in which sporting heroes are cast. To many, the Springfield Centre is the true home of football. To some, the true home of squash. To others, the home of cherry drops from the vending machine in the lounge.
Well, Flano, it's a great occasion. I'm certainly overjoyed to be back in the centre where I spent so much of my playing days, just a few metres away in the gym. Pumping iron, lunging and sweating my way to match fitness. Tell you what, if these walls could talk, they'd have some incredible sporting stories, but of course these walls can't talk, so the stories will have to be told by the people who actually live those stories.
The great occasion gives me the honour of sitting next to the local legend and Lothario, Fred from Bernie's, giving his view on today's game and no doubt sharing some of his stories from the Springfield Cup from years gone by.
I certainly will. It's a great tournament, steeped in history, with great teams that have come and gone over the years, with some great victories and great losses, and some have said that it don't hold the value these days, and we all know that things change, and I for one certainly do not like change. If I had my way, I would keep everything exactly the same.
We're indoors in the Stephanie Millward Hall under the lights, and it'll be hot and breathless with the walls keeping the ball in play at all times. It's a shorter game though, only 60 minutes with an option of 30 minutes if the game's tied at full time. And of course, it's only 5-a-side.
Well, it's a select audience too, with an invite-only crowd, and you can see how much it means to those in the venue. There's a few tears in the eyes of those lucky people who were let through the barriers at reception today. There was a queue all the way down the alleyway to the timings before the kick-off, and there'll be a lot of disappointed fans trying to get a look in through those fire doors.
Yes, and it looks as if Dave Brown has really laid on a spread for his 30 or so VIP supporters. There's caviar and cans of shandy, along with a selection of confectionery being offered to the grey-haired few who've stumped up the funds to watch this battle today. Well, let's get to it, Fred, and see what the lineups look like.
Yes, Flano, it's a knockout today, and I, for one, am looking forward to seeing how the teams line up. It's certainly an easier option than the league in terms of looking for your silverware, and there's obviously that rich history, and no team should take it lightly.
Dave Brown's boys today are looking to build on a patchy start to the season. They are looking for a spark to set their season on fire after a win, a loss and a draw in their opening 3 fixtures. David Laker starts again in goal, but there's a tweak today with bigger boy Tutty taking the captain's armband.
Well, last week's loss to Bence's Lane may have cost Laker the armband. He's a good kid, but this team need a bit more on the field, despite what Matt the Cat has been piping on about in the press, about leaders all over the pitch. Well, me, I'm old school. I like knowing who's giving the bollockings and who's going to take those bollocks in the face.
Avion Jones makes his debut for the boys. After a checkered pre-season, he was almost offloaded before kicking a ball, but he does get the nod today.
Well, Jones gets his chance, but he's out of position. I like to think that that's a calculated gamble for Sanchez, but I think he'll be sailing quite close to the win, and that's not what I like in this competition. I'm not sure how Jones is going to fit in really. He's an hard one to gauge. Inconsistencies in his plays and certainly in his hair. You know, 1 minute he's got these incredible locks and the next he's an hard man with a skinhead. So I just don't know if he's coming or going, to be honest.
Stuart Tutty plays solo in midfield, taking the captain's armband from Laker. He'll be honoured to be captaining the side in a competition where he made his name all those years ago. The biggest boy on the pitch should be able to settle any dubious decisions pretty quickly.
Yeah, good move from Sanchez there, trying to replace the man in the middle with his own big hunky man in the middle. You don't need a team of captains, in my opinion. What, it's not like you needed 3 prime ministers, do you? No thank you, I'm happy with just the one. I know who to praise and I know who to blame when it all goes tits up, and that's just A-OK with me.
And manager Matt the Cat Sanchez has opted for 2 up front today, with Craig Mason and Sean Smythe combining for the first time this season. It's Smythe's first start and he looks to be another gamble from the Cat.
Well, for me, the Cat's treading a tightrope here. I'm not sure he's given the Cup the respect he deserves. This is an institution and it demands that respect, and the selection should fit these magnificent surroundings. I will say that Smythe is someone who's always caught my attention from afar. It's those tight, they're almost ringlets, aren't they, that he has, and to me they're bewildering. I'd give a princely sum to sit down and get behind the man and find out what makes his hair tick. He's an enigma, that's for sure.
Well, word is that manager Millward is still to arrive at the centre. The last report said that he and Daniel Hughes were seen nearby asking where the Legion pub had gone before asking for directions for the 2 pigs. It's likely they'll be at the Hare and Hounds after finding out that the pig closed a few years back, and they'll need to improve their scouting network for future ventures, won't they, Fred? Well, Ben Dillaway captains the team today. The calming presence at the back is without its usual cover as Millward phoned the team sheet in from what sounded like a beer garden.
It's just bloody unbelievable.
2 at the back as Millward opts for a combination of Kyle Thornhill and Tom Wickham. There's not too much skill or mobility there, but plenty of size which could help Dillaway's cause.
I mean, you are kidding, aren't you? I mean, this is a joke, right?
Bentley gets his first start of the season in a one-man midfield. He'll be going mano a mano with bigger boy Tutty and may find it hard work today.
Well, who's this kid? I've never heard of him.
Well, he's a squad player, Fred. Millward's obviously looking to take a different approach this time out, and he continues with Matthew Brock up front after his sending off last week. Brock surely owes his manager something today.
Well, so that fucking Charlie Millward's playing 2 players in a 5-a-side, whilst he sits in a pub drinking his first team midfield under the fucking table. It ain't right. This is the best cup competition in the world, and he's basically giving it 2 bloody fingers with that stupid team sheet. Ain't even a bloody team sheet. He's got a lot of neck, that Millward character. All new money and no class. That's his problem. He needs a good walloping and I'll be the first in line. You can't pick a team like that. Even if you don't think it can beat the other team. What kind of message does that send out to the kids who've lined up for hours to see their team? Now, they've come all the way from Ashley, those kids, and they're watching a couple of fluffers in front of Dillaway with nobody in midfield and not much better up front. We all know Brock's only in that team as a last resort, and he ain't going to get any better, is he? He's going to have the game of his life if he's going to give the Badgers any chance at all.
Well, the words of Fred the Barber, traditionalist and authoritarian sympathiser, and quite clearly a die-hard Springfield Cup supporter.
Look, I don't give a toss about any particular cup, but it's bloody football. Football, you know? It's my life. And Millward's taking the Michael out of me and everybody here. Jesus, I hope they get done today.
Well, the game starts when Tutty says so, and Tutty's got the furry yellow ball in his hand, and looking anxiously at the clock on the wall, he decides it's time to get going. They've paid for an hour and a half, but Brown's boys will be hoping to get the game done with some time to spare for a few autographs after the game. Kit bags are behind the cricket nets and the Springfield staff have given the thumbs up to all the players. It's the first round of the Springfield Cup and let's get things moving.
I mean, you can't honestly tell me that chucking Brock on the field is going to do you any favours. He's second rate. We were all saying it was his hairdo and the Badgers midfield, but we know he ain't good, and he certainly ain't a player you look to in a crisis. He ain't going to pull up any trees today, is he?
No refs today, so Tutty has booted the ball against the Badgers' back wall and we're underway.
Oh, and I wonder what the result's going to be. I hope it's a bloody cricket score. It's not just about the selection though, is it, Flano? He's bloody phoned it in from a pub. What the hell's he playing at?
And Dillaway has the ball now and he's looking upfield and his body language says it all. It's a combination of angst and frustration. It seems like he's saying, I've not got much to aim at. This could be a long day for the big man at the back.
Yeah, well, he's not happy. Who knows what kind of conversations he'll be having with the manager tonight. Certainly won't be a sober one, I tell you that.
Dillaway rolls the ball out to Thornhill, who looks genuinely surprised by Dillaway's choice. He's lays a straight leg onto the ball and it balloons off the right hand side wall not far from the basketball hoop.
Yeah, here we go.
And Mace is onto that in a flash and he's leathered that against the wall just over the bar and it's gone back to midfield where Tutty controls the ball now. Looks up, plays a calm ball through Wickham to Smythe, who's off balance but somehow gets a toe on it and it just rolls through to Dillaway, who collects calmly, and we're back to where we started.
God, I feel for Dillaway. These lights are like magnifying glasses and it's hot as well. How would you feel if you were in front of your fans under the microscope without any protection, just on your own in a pressure cooker, getting all that light shone on you? To me, I'd feel like I was in a toaster. And if Dillaway's anything like me, he won't want to spend too long in a toaster. Yeah, well, I was talking last week about passion and, well, Brock's got that. He just don't have any talent or any friends. It's tough for the lad and he's really got nothing to play for today or really in the longer term.
Yes, Fred. Now, Tutty is just doing a few keepy-uppies on his own, in his own half, and Bentley looks rather impressed by Tutty's ability.
Yeah, too impressed if you ask me. There's too much respect out there.
And Tutty's beckoning Bentley over and Bentley starts walking towards Tutty, smiling, and as he gets close to Tutty, Tutty lays the ball to Mace, who's in a lot of space on a rather small pitch, and he's barged past Thornhill, who falls and holds his knee gingerly. Mace isn't interested in that though, and he carries the ball on down the right hand side and he pings the ball off the wall. Tutty clears that one up and sweeps the ball home into the net. It's 1-0 and Dillaway picks it out of his net and he's talking to himself angrily.
Well, he's talking to himself because he knows his words will be lost on the rest of the team. That's a routine finish from Tutty there. Nice work luring Bentley, but it's candy from a baby, stuff out there. You don't need no skill to take candy, you just need the right baby. And well, the Badgers are literally a team of babies today, with the exception of Dillaway, who's very much the only real Badger on the field. 1-0 to the Browns boys after 16 minutes, and that's the breakthrough they were looking for. Sanchez and Brown stand on the balcony. Sanchez looks relieved and has a nervous smile in Brown's direction, but he's unmoved by what he's seen. Dillaway pelts the ball off the left-hand wall in the hope of reaching Brock upfield, and, well, Jones picks the ball up. Brock's with him, and he's having a little nibble, and Jones doesn't like that, and he's flung an elbow in Brock's direction. Brock is down. Brock is down. Wow, that looks sore, and it don't look very kosher if you ask me. I know there's no ref, but I've seen better than that outside the Dingoes, and I've had to get involved in those situations. That one weren't right. Oh, and Thornhill and Wickham aren't happy about that, but they're not really saying much to Jones or anyone, really. Dillaway is furious, and he's a big lad, but he's far too far away from the action. He's clearly conserving his energy for what's to come. Well, Tutty shouted play on, and there ain't much Brock can do. He's got a sore head and some wet eyes, but he's picking himself up and he's got to get on with it. I really don't know why anyone's turned up for this. It's a bloody training game for the boys out there. But it's only 1-0 and stranger things have happened, Fred. Bentley somehow got the ball and he looks up to see Tutty jogging over to him, gesturing a sort of a hand it over like a security guard to a shoplifter. Bentley looks scared and he panics and he kicks the ball as hard as he can and it goes straight into Tutty, who looks a little bit shocked, and the ball now comes off the wall and it falls to Brock, who's on his own. Jones is testing the fire doors with a cigarette in his hand and he clearly isn't interested in the game. Hello, hello, hello. And Brock's got the ball now and it's just him versus Laker, and he's a little way out and he does a couple of step overs before continuing towards the goal, and he's one-on-one with Laker, and Laker comes out and smothers the ball, and Brock is barged out of the way from the scene by Tutty, who's taken no prisoners there. Oh, another tasty challenge from Tutty. He's obviously waved play on there and he's got the ball back. The balcony don't like that, but Tutty just waves them away. Oh, and Brock's in a heap and Laker's seeing if he's okay. Oh, there's quite clearly some pain on his face there. He's taken that one hard and his face is all shriveled like a walnut. Heavy breathing too. Puffs the cheeks out. Yes, that was a cruncher from Tutty after Laker certainly had the situation under control. Well, Tutty has decided that's half time and there's only 29 minutes on the clock there. Nobody's really arguing from either team though, and they go to the benches for a bit of a rest. Wickham has left the hall with some change in his hand, obviously off to pick up some Lucozade. Well, yes, I'd say he needs a rest, but I can't remember him doing anything of note at all. A lot of huff and puff, but then what would you expect? There is obviously still no sign of the manager here. I think he's washed his hands of the team, and wouldn't you with a selection like that? Yes, Fred, but only 1-0 though, and the game's far from dead and buried. Brock's been in the wars, but Tutty's bossed things here in really every sense. He's a bigger boy and he's proved it today. Sanchez has come down pitch side and he's got his iPad out and he's trying to explain something apparently very, very important to his team. I don't know exactly what he's going on about, but it looks like it needs to be said. His team really haven't clicked despite the obvious golfing class, and Dave Brown stands on that balcony, don't look too happy as he tucks into a big bag of cheese and onions, real McCoys. Well, Wickham's had his Lucozade and the bubbles look to be taking their toll. He's doubled over and Thornhill is comforting him and Dillaway's just shaking his head in disbelief. Well, Mace is having a few jokes with Tutty as they watch what's going on near Dillaway. It really is men against boys in the first half, and those boys have lost their dad. He's down the pub with his mates. Laker has the ball now and he's looking up. Lots of options as Thornhill and Wickham are trying desperately to make the floor beneath them open up and somehow swallow them whole. This really isn't their arena and there's nowhere to hide. That's absolutely right, Flano. You might just be able to get out of sight of the balcony if you're right in the far corner, but you know the front row can still see you if they actually just lean over the barrier and look to their right. So it's really not worth trying to hide. The Badgers need to step up and they really need to show their mettle. Well, Laker still have the ball close to the entrance door on the left-hand side. He plays the ball off the wall and Jones picks that up and now he's on the right-hand side of the field to Tutty. On to Smythe now and he loses control, but the ball comes off Bentley and the game is rather breaking down. But now Tutty has it and he plays the ball back, but it's loose and Jones runs after that and he picks it up, and well, Tutty stayed upfield. Jones launches the ball long and Tutty with the header, uncontested. It's 2-0, easy stuff for Brown's boys, and a hopeful hoof upfield, and Tutty's got his head to it. Well, there's a fair amount of shame on the faces of both Thornhill and Wickham. They won't even look at Dillaway. They're like puppies who've been caught peeing on the rug. Dillaway shakes his head and Brock is trying to gee up the troops. He's trying to be a leader, but he just don't have the words or really the presence. 2-0 here, and the game is moving away from the Badgers rather quickly. The players reset for the game to start again, but Tutty says to Dillaway just to play it on from his goal line. Not much in the way of disagreement from anyone, so the game just continues as it was before the goal. You just can't expect to build a reputation as a team with a selection like this. Millward's just taking the piss, and he'll be hearing about it from the papers tomorrow and certainly from me tonight. Absolutely, Fred. It's been tough going for his team too. They won't be happy with the manager, but the play goes on. Dillaway underarms the ball out to the right-hand side, and Brock is after that, and he's taken a touch. Looks back, but there's nothing on, so he continues down the line. He's headed for the corner. Jones is closing in on the space, and Brock's starting to look a little trapped down there. Jones is he's physically pushing Brock against the wall. Brock's still got the ball though, and he manages, he's swiveled past Jones and back towards his own goal, and he plays the ball to Bentley, who seems excited by the ball coming in his direction. Eyes are lit up, and Bentley misses the ball completely. It rolls to Wickham, who's not keen on that scenario at all, and he's backing away from the oncoming ball, and Dillaway comes off his line there, approaches the ball, and he smashes the ball high into the air. It's gone into the balcony, and there are bowls of crisps flying everywhere. There's Panda Pops on the deck, and there's lemonade dribbling down the walls on the side to the pitch. Honestly, this is a bloody circus. I cannot believe I'm watching the Springfield Cup and this stuff and nonsense is happening. People need some bloody rules. You can't rely on everybody just doing the right thing these days. Bloody lemonade on the walls, and there's no manager here. It's the Springfield Cup. This is bloody special. I couldn't agree more, Fred. The pandemonium here as the balcony guests surround Dave Brown, hounding him for their money back. And Brown waves them away and gestures to Sanchez to start clearing up. And, well, Sanchez isn't amused, and he pretends he hasn't seen at all. And Finally, there's a staff member there, arrives with a mop and a bucket, and he starts to bring some normality to the scene. Well, Flano, this feels to me like an afternoon wasted. I'll never get this time back. That Millward owes me an afternoon of football, and I'm certainly going to let him know that. Yeah, I can see what you mean, Fred. It's almost over, this game. The halls are booked for another 15 minutes or so there'll be plenty of time for autographs, and Jones is languidly standing in the fire doors finishing off his second cigarette, and the game clearly has a testimonial feel to it. Certainly does. Not the hammering we'd have expected after seeing those teams come out, but it's done. Well, yes, it's up to Tutty to call time on the game, and he has the ball at his feet, slowing down as if to say, that's it, everybody, stop. But then Tutty plays the ball to Mace, who's in one-on-one, and he's finished it past Dillaway, who really wasn't expecting that. Is it 3-0? Well, Tutty's celebrating with Mace, and yes, looks like it's 3-0, and nobody's complaining from the Badgers side or the boys, so 3-0 it is. Well, I was always taught to play to the whistle, and Tutty don't have no whistle, so he's played on, and that's 3. Mace gets on the score sheet, and Tutty has an assist to add to his 2 goals. It's a good performance from the captain and also the officiator today. Well, what a terrible day. It feels like the soul of the Springfield Cup has died. They've made an old man very unhappy today, and I'm that old man, and I'm not sure whether I'll ever be able to recover from this emotionally. If I die tonight, you can send my ashes to that clown Millward, and you can serve them to him with a bit of humble pie. And Tutty's now gesturing Laker to get forward. He's got the ball at his feet, and Tutty's jogging upfield easily past Bentley, and he's only got Dillaway to beat, and Dillaway really doesn't know what he's going to do, so he's tentatively come off his line, and Tutty lays the ball to Laker, who just knocks the ball in the open goal, and this is really turning into a training match. Is it 4-0? Well, Dillaway's off. He's grabbed his bag and he's headed out of those fire doors to the car park, and he'll get in his car, go home, and he'll stew on what has been a horrible day if you're a Badger. Well, Millward got what he deserved today, and no spine to that selection at all, and certainly no spine to that team. Tutty's picked the ball up and he's waving to the balcony. Sanchez looks a relieved man, and Brown is still as serious as ever. He reaches for another bag of McCoys and he heads for the exit. Easy win in the end for Brown's boys, and they'll be content today. On to the next round with a chance of silverware this season. Manager took a couple of chances himself today with the selection, but they easily had enough in the tank. 4-0 today after goals from Tutty, Mace and Laker of all people made it a scoreline to reflect the difference in quality on the pitch. Millward's men were nowhere to be seen and he was reportedly down the pub with his midfield. With Ben Dillaway cutting a lonesome figure at the back, he'll no doubt be chastened by the experience today. Tough day if you're a Badger supporter. Some utter disrespect from the manager and owner and some awful displays from the players left to fend for themselves. Wickham didn't know what sport he was playing, let alone what competition he was playing in, and well, Brock just took an absolute hammering. Dave Brown's boys go through in the cup and Sanchez will breathe a sigh of relief. Something perhaps to build on for a league run. Thanks as always to Fred from Bernie's for joining us again. I'd say it was a pleasure, but I feel like I, along with the rest of the viewers today, have been cheated out of a decent game. It's a fucking disgrace. Throw that clown Millward out of the league, I says. Thanks, Fred, and we'll hope you join us again sometime soon. Oh, whatever, Mark. I've had enough. I'm going to get a drink and it ain't nowhere near that Chancellor Millward. Dave Brown's boys continue in the cup as King Tut rules the roost. I've been Mark Flannel and it's back to you in the studio, Gabby.